video is going to be my August favorites. So I want to share with you guys everything that I've been loving in the month of August. I did get quite a few things from Sephora this past month, and also I have a couple of ColourPop favorites. Not too many because honestly I haven't really picked up too much from ColourPop at all. I know, what a shocker. I mean, I am actually wearing a newer ColourPop palette that I will post the first impressions on probably tomorrow. But yeah, let's get into it. So there are quite a few products that I really have been loving this past month that I've been using almost every day. So I wanted to talk about this guy first. And I wanted to start off with primers. So the primer I really have been loving is the Rare Beauty Illuminating Primer. I picked this up, I think, like almost 2 weeks ago, and I've used it almost every day that I've done my makeup. I am wearing it today, and it's just such a beautiful, very illuminating, hydrating primer. And when you blend it into the skin, it just creates like this really beautiful, shiny glow. But I also think that this is more shiny than the Say primer is. They are very similar in consistency. I actually did a side-by-side comparison of the two primers, and they're pretty much almost exactly the same. The Rare Beauty one feels a bit more tacky because it is more so of a primer. The Say one is more of like a dewy highlighter gel. But they both work beautifully as primers, but I did wear the Say on one side and then the Rare Beauty on the other side one day because I just wanted to see how they compared, and they almost were exactly the same. So I would say you probably don't need both, but I would say if you want something that's like a little bit more glowy and even more highlighting, I would suggest the Rare Beauty one. The Say one is just extremely hydrating, but also adds that beautiful dewy glow to your skin. So absolutely been loving this. I've been using this almost every single day over the Say one, but that's also because it's a newer product. But I actually ended up exchanging my Say backup that I bought actually earlier today, and I picked up a couple more products from Sephora. I actually got the new House Labs concealer because I really, really wanted that. But I decided since I have this one, I don't need the backup of the Say one. Once I use up the Say one, I can just use up this one. So been really loving that one. And then I just wanted to mention the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer again. I've been using this one for most of the month as well. This one is much more of a tacky primer. It's very lotiony feeling, but I feel like with this, I like wearing this on more natural makeup days. I don't know if I really love this primer for more medium, fuller coverage foundations on myself, because I've found, like, I think once or twice that I've worn this. I don't know if it's been because of the foundation, and the foundation might just be older at this point. Because I think the last time I used this was, I think, with my Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. And I found that it was just very dry at the end of the day. Like, my skin felt really dry. So I'm not sure if it was this or the Anastasia foundation, but usually my face never feels dry when I use that foundation. So I still really like this, but I think I prefer it when I just have lighter makeup days, because I think that my face looks just more natural and not dry by the end of the day when I use this with like a tinted moisturizer rather than like a fuller coverage foundation. But I need to use this a bit more. I mean, I have been using it a ton, but since I've been using the Rare Beauty one way more because I just love how it makes my skin feel, and the same thing with the Say one, I have to like get back to you about it. But I have been using the e.l.f. one for almost 2 months at this point, I think, which is crazy. Like, I cannot believe it's September already. But yeah, so that is it for primers. Now let's move on to complexion products, and I'm just going to mention two that I've been using so consistently throughout the whole month. These have been the two I've been reaching for the most. I haven't really been able to use my foundations as much because I haven't really been working that much, but also I usually just use foundations when I'm going out with my friends or when I'm working. When I go to my boyfriend's house or I'm just like running errands, I usually just wear a tinted moisturizer. So today I'm wearing my ColourPop Pretty Fresh hyaluronic acid tinted moisturizer, and I've raved about this so many times. I think I was wearing this in my last month's favorites video. I just freaking love this product. It's literally just evens out my skin tone in the most beautiful way. And I really didn't put too much on today because I wanted a very light coverage look, because again, it's hot as hell here in New York today. Oh my God, it's like 95 degrees today. It's very hot. I think it's like the hottest day of the entire year today here. So yeah, I know that I don't live in Texas or anything, so maybe I shouldn't be bitching, but it's really hot, especially for September. But I just freaking love this product. I'm in the shade Fair 1N, and I missed this in my collection so much that I had to get another one a couple months ago. And I just have been using it constantly since I got it again. I try to use it at least once or twice a week. And I just freaking love it on my skin. It's so beautiful. So I had to mention that again. And then the other one I really wanted to talk about again is the Cali Ray Free Dreaming Skin Wellness Diffusing Tint. I freaking love this skin tint. It makes my skin look so beautiful. And this one has, I don't know how they did this, but this is a water-based tinted moisturizer, or just a skin tint that has coverage. Like, it has coverage to it. Like, you're gonna get more coverage than you think you would get, but it's so ridiculously hydrating and lightweight on the skin, but it's not like too dewy, or because it's watery, it doesn't give super light coverage. It gives you coverage, but in the most beautiful, natural, dewy way. It is so stunning on my skin. I absolutely love this product. I loved this way more than the Fenty Beauty Easy Skin Stick Foundation. I ended up returning that. And then I went back to using this again, and I'm like, this is like night and day. I freaking love this product. So I don't know if I was using the Fenty Beauty one like incorrectly, but I should think that a skin tint isn't this difficult to get to work on my skin. So let's move on to concealers, and I have two to talk about because I did try two new concealers this month, and I've been reaching for these ones the most since I've gotten them, especially this one, and I'm wearing this one today. So this one is the new Tower 28 concealer. This is the I can never read this, serum concealer, and I believe this is 0.5 or 1.0. It's the lightest shade. I don't know why they just don't list the shade name on the bottom like you usually do with a concealer. It also doesn't have like any ingredients on the side, which is also kind of a little bizarre, but I have been reaching for this so much. I'm wearing it underneath my eyes today, and even though it's not the most crease-proof concealer, it just has this magical way of, it has beautiful coverage to it. Beautiful coverage underneath the eyes. But then, and it applies like pretty full coverage when you put it underneath the eyes. But then when you blend it out, it's so lightweight and hydrating, and it just dries down to be like a more natural matte finish. And it literally just blends in seamlessly to like any tinted moisturizer or lightweight foundation that I use with it. I have been using this constantly. This has been my most reached for concealer this whole past month. And I really, really love this concealer so far. So it's been concealer month, but there really have been some exciting concealers coming out that I have been really excited for these brands to come out with concealers. Like Tower 28, I rave about Tower 28 so much. They are one of my favorite brands at Sephora because, again, I've never met a Tower 28 product I don't like. And this product is no exception. If you were looking for a good hydrating, lightweight concealer, especially if you have dry skin or like normal to dry skin. I don't know about oily skin. I mean, I saw the Fancy Face use this and she said that she liked it. She liked it more than the other concealer I'm about to talk about. But this one is just so nice and natural, but also brightening. But it doesn't have like that super stark white kind of line to it, or like very brightening effect that like the most lightweight the lightest shade of concealers usually for me, as I always get the lightest shade in a concealer, can be very white underneath my eyes, and sometimes it can't blend in like too naturally to the skin tint that I use or the foundation that I use. And this one does not do that. It's not like stark white or like really pale. It just highlights in the most beautiful, natural, gorgeous way. So absolutely love that concealer. And then the other one is the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Awakening Concealer. Also, I've been loving the Tower 28 concealer with the Tower 28 skin tint. I really just don't know, besides this one and the Tower 28 one, how much I've actually loved doing that, because usually when a foundation that I love comes out with a coinciding concealer like from that brand and I'm like super excited to try the concealer, 99% of the time I don't love both products. I usually love the foundation over the concealer. Like with the Rare Beauty foundation, like the old foundation, which I think I'm on the verge of decluttering. I really haven't used it in a while, and I actually just picked up another foundation today. I know, even though I was really good about not picking up any foundations last month, I picked up one today because I was just so curious about it. But anyway, the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Concealer. I absolutely love this with the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Foundation. This one is a good concealer. I really like it. I don't know if I'm in love with it, but it does, again, blend into the skin very seamlessly. It's very, I like it with a sponge, even though Morgan Turner said that this was supposed to be more full coverage than the Tower 28 one. I almost feel like they have the same amount of coverage when you use a sponge, as I always use a sponge to blend out my concealer. I never use like a brush or anything like that. I'm a sponge girl. I use sponges for everything. I don't use sponges for my skin products either. I always use a beauty sponge, but I really like this. I think it blends into the skin really nicely. Is it the most crease proof long wearing concealer? No, but I do like this for days that I work or days that I just want to wear something a little bit more full coverage underneath the eyes. But I actually just wore this yesterday with the Surreal Skin foundation, and that's the second time I've worn it like that, and I absolutely love the combo together. Even though yesterday was, it's September right now, but I did try this with the Makeup by Mario foundation, I think a week or two before September, so it was still August, and I did try this in August as well, but I could not wait to try it with the foundation, and they both look beautiful together. But I also have really been liking this with other foundations and tinted moisturizers as well, so I really have been enjoying this foundation too. I find that this one creases faster though. If I want to wear it for like when I go out with my friends or something like that, because I always laugh a lot when I'm out with my friends. I mean, obviously I'm gonna laugh, like, but when you laugh, obviously you get like those wrinkle kind of marks underneath your under eyes. So it's not like the greatest for like going out for a long period of time if I need to wear my makeup for a while. But I like wearing this to work for like a 6-hour time frame. And it's really, really nice. So I like it. Okay. I've been testing it out quite a bit and I do like it. Let's move on to eyeshadows. I just felt like starting with some different products today. I don't have any new powders to talk about. The one powder I've been going back to constantly is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh powder. It's still my favorite. I'm wearing it today and it's literally the best. And I've been using the Becca one quite a bit as well because I've been trying to use it up. So let's talk about two eyeshadow palettes. So before I jump into these two palettes, I just wanted to update you guys about the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I actually ended up returning it because I just felt like I wasn't going to be using it enough to justify keeping it. And since I already have a new eyeshadow palette on my eyes today that I literally cannot wait to share with you guys, that I love it so much, that it's like literally a fraction of the price. It's from ColourPop, obviously. It's the Rock On palette. I'm definitely gonna mention this in my next favorites video, but I didn't try this until September. But literally, like the day, I think either the day that I returned the Natasha Denona palette, I went to Ulta, picked up that palette, and used it the next day, and I love it. But anyway, like, I can talk about a little bit about ColourPop because I'm so familiar with the formula because I have over 30 palettes from ColourPop, but I really wanted to mention these two. But yeah, I ended up returning that palette because it wasn't doing it for me. It was not doing it. It's not doing it, you know? Like, I need it to give me a little something, and I just felt like it was too neutral for me. Like, you guys know I love my neutral tones, but this is what I like. I want something a little bit warmer. Not to say that I don't like wearing cool tones as well, because I actually do enjoy cool tones, especially in the winter months. I really like cool tone looks. But compared to the Yucca palette and the My Dream palette, those palettes are just so top quality, amazing color stories, and the shimmers are absolutely stunning, and the matte selection is just so good in those palettes that the I Need a Nude palette was just not doing it for me. Like, I didn't want to keep on having to combine it with other Natasha Denona palettes to get it to work. And after I swatched it again before I returned it and compared it to like the My Dream palette and the Retro palette and the Yucca palette, I'm like, there's not even really a comparison. I mean, it's pretty, but it's just not enough for me. Like, I'd rather use the ColourPop Not a Box of Chocolates palette. I'd rather use this palette on my eyes, and I really, really like the looks, and I feel like I'm just going to use these palettes more than that palette. Like, when I laid it out all against all my other Natasha Denona palettes, it just fell to the bottom. I'm like, I'm really just not going to use this enough. So this palette I've absolutely been loving, though. I had to mention the Bella Beauté Bar The Sun and the Sea palette again. I think I mentioned this in my July favorites as well, but this palette is just so insanely good. The quality is just top notch. I'm absolutely in love with the shimmers in this palette. They are so ridiculously multi-dimensional and so shifty and sparkly and beautiful, and the mattes are just chef's kiss. I don't want to mess up my lip gloss, but they are just amazing. So when I did the blue look with this palette, I finally got to play with the blue shades for a look that I did for work. Oh my god, it was like one of my favorite blue looks I've ever done, if not my favorite. These three blue mattes were so insanely pigmented, but they were so easy to blend. And then I popped on Tide Pool all over the lid, and it was absolutely breathtakingly stunning. I was so nervous that the blues weren't going to blend as easily, but literally every single shade in this palette is amazing. There's not one dud shade. The shimmers are unreal. They're just so beautiful on the eyes. This has become one of my favorite brands that I've tried this year. Besides Simply Posh and Cosmic Brushes, Bella Beauté Bar has really blown me away with the quality, and I'm so happy that I decided to try this palette. I'm really tempted to pick up their new palette called the Basic Witch palette, but I literally just got another palette in the mail from another brand I've been dying to try, that I don't know if I'm going to pick up the new one. I also really like the new Nomad palette as well, but I really just can't pick up any more palettes right now. I know that I say that and then I end up picking up like 3 more. But I'm going to slow down a little bit. I want to get a little bit more use out of this too. I actually used this like 3 days in a row, like last week. I think it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I used this so I could just get a little bit more use out of it and use some of the shimmers again, and they are just amazing. So I just really wanted to just refresh my memory on how much I loved the palette, and I'm just obsessed with it. I have to swatch at least a couple of them for you. I think it's really hard to pick a favorite in this palette because they're all insanely beautiful. But let's swatch these 3 for you guys. I think I end up usually swatching these 3. This one is Heat Wave, this one is Mesmerizing, and this one is Tide Pool. Oh my god. And like I feel like a lot of them are so like light in tone that they could work on the inner corners too, just beautifully. They're all so pretty. The only one I've worn twice out of these is this shade Heat Wave, but I think that's my favorite one. It's like green to orange to red to gold. They're so multi-dimensional that I feel like this is like kind of the quality I would expect from owning like a Clionadh single shadow. And the matte, look at that. That is like barely swiping it in the pan. The blue is slightly more pigmented than the purpley shade, but they build so nicely. But that's like one of the most opaque blues that I've ever swatched. Like, it's not going to swatch as amazingly on my hand, but on the eyes, it is so buildable. So this one is Waves, and this one is Bikini. So I'm not going to sit here and swatch these all day because I literally could. But I am just so blown away by the quality of this palette that I had to give it a shout out again. It's just so beautiful. So I highly recommend it. And even though this palette has like the 4 brown tone neutral shades, I wish that there probably... For me, I wish that there was like one more matte in here. But the shade Tan Lines is such a good brow bone highlight for me, so I use that all the time for that. But I kind of wish that there was just like a deep purple in here to go with the Mesmerizing shade, but I also think that would have been really pretty with the rest of the palette. And maybe get rid of one of these neutral mattes. But these neutral mattes are so pretty and they go so well with most of the neutral shimmers in here. And they also pair so well with the colorful mattes. And also with this, I feel like it's kind of similar to like the layout of the Glaminatrix palette, like the Nearly Natural palette. The mattes just assist how beautiful the shimmers are. And it's different when it comes to this palette compared to like the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, because those mattes were just not saturated enough for me to assist the beauty of the shimmers in the Natasha Denona palette. I think that these were better. These shimmers are so insanely good. And they're almost the same price, but honestly, I would recommend Bella Beauté Bar if you're into like this kind of color story. Like this, I feel like would be a fun palette for someone that wants to get into color but still likes wearing neutrals, because there are neutral mattes in here and the shifts of the shimmers are just so stunning. So I would say if you want to try it, I would highly recommend Bella Beauté Bar. Their quality is just phenomenal. And then the other eyeshadow face palette, whatever you want to call it, that I wanted to mention was the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Forget Me Not palette. I've only used this twice on my eyes, but I'm so familiar with the quality of Blend Bunny because I have the All Done Up palette, so it's not like I haven't tried their formula before. The Bella Beauté Bar I had never tried before, but the quality of this is really, really beautiful. It's just not something that I'm going to use all the time, except for that I've been using this brow bone highlight literally every day. I have it on my brow bone today. It's the shade Brighter Days. It's just such a good matte white shade because it really brightens underneath the brow bone. But this palette is mostly cool toned, so when I actually received the palette and I wanted to try, like, you know, a few different looks, I really feel like she could have probably put, like, maybe like a mauvier pink shade in here, because that would have been something that would have been universal, like, for a blush shade, because there's none of these I'm really drawn to use as a blush. I think that this row is beautifully done because this is really deep and dark for deep, dark skin tones. And also I can use this as a really, really dark outer corner shade on my eyes. But also, like, I don't feel like any of these shades are really that great of a bronzer tone for me. I haven't used any of them as a bronzer yet. I kind of want to use Anticipation like that, but... And I'm not one to contour either, so I don't really want to use it to contour either. And it's also very hard to hold up. It's very heavy, but I do really love the bottom row of the shimmers. They are so stunning on the lids and also as highlighters. So I have been using this bottom row as highlighters, and they really are stunning on the cheeks and the eyes. They're very, very light, super buttery soft, and very highly metallic, so I really do like the shimmers in here, and the mattes are so blendable and beautiful. I'm gonna put it down though because it's like literally I can't hold it anymore, but I just wish that she would have probably put like one more pinkier leaning shade in here, because the light shade a moment is just not really a crease shade for me. I feel like the only way I could use this is as a brow bone highlight. I tried to use it as a crease shade and it just was way too light, and when you actually swatch it, it's more so like a whitish pink. It's not really as icy pink as you think it would be, but I'm not saying that the quality isn't fantastic because they're just so blendable. The usual formula I'm used to from Blend Bunny, so I'm not going to say you're going to be disappointed with the formula because Blend Bunny is fire, but I'm just letting you know from my experience, it's not my perfect neutral palette, but look at these highlight shades. They're so stunning. So this one is Butterflies and this one is Cheers. They are so beautiful and shimmery and so soft and metallic on the eyes that I really have been enjoying them. So I would prefer this palette over the Natasha Denona one. I was going to do a comparison with both, but literally I just got so tired and bored of the Natasha Denona one that I'm like, I would rather use this because there's definitely way more deepening options and more selection in the matte shades in this. It's so funny how I'm such a shimmer girl, but if a certain palette does not have like deepening shades for me or like tones of mattes that I like, I really just don't like the palette. So, or I just feel like I'm like forcing myself to use something I don't want to use. But this palette's really nice. So I've just been keeping it next to me just in case if I need like, you know, just a regular schmegular shade that I need to like deepen up or something. I haven't used it for that yet, but I'll use, like, sometimes I'll use one of the shimmer shades just to pop on the inner corner to brighten it up a little bit more, and it is really, really pretty. So I've been finding uses for it here and there, but not like as much as I thought I was going to use it, but it is a really nice palette. I don't regret buying it. When it comes to eyeliners and mascaras, I haven't gotten any new ones. I've just been using the Valentino one and the Amico Lay one a lot. Really, the one I've been loving is the Valentino one again. I think this mascara is amazing. It just really curls your lashes beautifully. I'm not wearing it today. I'm wearing my ColourPop Lengthening Mascara. I just picked up a backup of that one. I was like, I missed that in my collection too, and I always end up picking up backups of those ColourPop mascaras, but this Valentino one is bomb. It's not too expensive. I think it's like 30 something dollars, and I actually just picked up another mascara today, but it was 30% off. So don't judge me, okay? I know you're judging me right now, but don't judge me, okay? Like, I did get rid of a lot of mascaras, so now I'm like, okay, now I want to buy some, and now it's like I need to stop. But anyway, fabulous mascara. I really like it. Okay, let's move on to bronzers. I am going to mention 2 cream bronzers because I really have been using these a ton still this past month. I still love my House Labs and my Pat McGrath one. I've been reaching for those a ton as well, and I've been using my ColourPop one a lot. I'm actually wearing my Milani one today. I still love that one as well for the summertime. But I really wanted to mention the ColourPop Bronze Stick in the shade Laguna Beach again. This is a really good bronzer stick. I've been using it a ton, and you get a lot of products from it. But it's just a really good, easy, affordable, blendable bronzer from ColourPop, and I really like it. It's just really nice. It's a really good everyday cream bronzer. If you don't want to spend an arm and a leg on a cream bronzer, I would just suggest getting the ColourPop one. I think it's really good. I've said this like a million times, but I've raved about the ColourPop sticks line like so many times. I really love the blushes, I really love the highlighters, and I really love the bronzer sticks. So it's just really good. I know I talked about that last month, so I didn't want to talk about it too long. And then the other bronzer is the Tower 28 cream bronzer. This is the Bronzino cream bronzer in the shade Suncoast. This one is just so naturally pretty and beautiful. It pretty much has almost the same effect as the Milani bronzer. I kind of realized that like right now as I was talking about the Milani bronzer, and as I'm wearing it, I'm like, it's kind of a similar effect because it's a very light, shimmery, luminous kind of finish to it. It takes a little bit of work to work into my skin, but once I have it on, because like I can't really pick it up with a brush, so I usually just apply it with my finger and then I'll just blend it out with a brush or even a sponge. And the sponge blends it out really beautifully as well, and it just has created such a beautiful natural bronze for the summertime, so I really have been enjoying that as well. So that is it for bronzers. Now let's jump into blushes. So I have a couple of individual blushes to talk about, but I really wanted to mention this blush palette. I think that this is my favorite product I've tried this entire month. I really am so impressed with the formula of this, and I've been reaching for this constantly since I got it, and since I've tried it, I'm like, I really just want to go back and use these blushes, and that's the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Bare Cheeks palette. I didn't pick these up initially when they launched. I wanted to pick this up when the Forget Me Not palette launched, and I'm so glad that I picked this up with that, because I already knew from the website that there were the tones in the Forget Me Not palette were not going to be the best blush tones for my skin. That I wanted to get this to try with the Forget Me Not palette, and I am so obsessed with the formula of these. It's just, these are some of the smoothest, most blendable pigmented blushes I've ever used. And you guys know I have so many blushes, but I am honestly so blown away by the quality of this. I mean, Blend Bunny is amazing. Like, my Noctilucent palette is like one of my all-time favorite highlighting palettes. It's literally so stunning. I think I prefer those over the ones in the Forget Me Not palette. Sorry, I literally just burped. I think I was like, oh. But seriously, like, Blend Bunny just is top quality. I know a lot of people talk about Blend Bunny, and you're probably sick of people raving about it, but honestly, for good reason. Their formula is fucking amazing. And I've used the majority of these blushes. Usually if I say something's a favorite, I like to use all of them. But I've wanted to go into a couple of shades again. I've used this shade again, and I'm wearing this shade today called Just a Touch. So these are the only two I've used twice. All the other blush shades, I think I've only used once. I think I might have used the pink one again, but there were quite a few other pink blushes I wanted to go back into again, and I will talk about those. But the quality is just so stunning. It's so easy to apply. Like, I'll just show you guys. It's just, I'm probably just gonna put too much on now, but like, it's just so smooth, and it really just blends seamlessly into the skin. You see like how I just blend it upwards, and I'm just using like the tip of my brush, and it just gives a beautiful touch of blush to the skin. I mean, I know that one's called Just a Touch, but seriously, all the ones I've used are so pigmented, but they're so easily blendable. I'm literally obsessed with this palette. So I actually got to try the red one a couple of days ago, and it was so beautiful. But also, these are very pigmented, but they're not like, oh my god, like so much pigment like the Clarity blushes. It's not like as soon as you dip your brush in, it's like you're gonna have instant kick up from the blushes. They are just so easy to use. Usually I'll just tap it into the pan, and then I'll just dab it off with my tissue. Like, I'll dab it here, and then I'll just dab it off a little bit with my tissue, and then I'll apply it to my face. And that's a way where you don't apply too much that you need to like over blend because you put on too much blush. So I'm absolutely obsessed with these. Just such amazing quality. And I'll swatch a couple for you guys. I think that the red and the orange shade are going to be like some of my go-tos for fall, but they're just so good. So that red shade, let me just open it up again. So the red is called Power Play, the orange is called In Charge, and then the pink is called Baby Girl. But seriously, such an amazing formula. I really have been enjoying them. And now let's talk about some of the other blushes. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's talk about some blushes. So I actually have not talked about any of these in my last favorites video, so we're going to talk about them now. So the one I have been absolutely obsessed with, and I didn't realize I didn't try this until like the first week of August. I thought I tried this at the end of July. But like I said in my last favorites video, the blushes that I got from Sephora, I wasn't able to try until the first week of August because I had like that skin reaction. And I think the only one I had tried in July was the Gwen Stefani blush. But this has been my absolute favorite cream blush that I've tried in a while. And this is the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil in the shade Just Peachy. And I'm pretty sure I talked about this in my haul video, raving about it because it's literally amazing. I just found that this one was the most creamy, pigmented, easy blush to apply over all of the cream blushes that I've tried. This was definitely my favorite one. The Pat McGrath one was nice, but it's not really a favorite. I'm going to mention like literally all the other ones because I think they're so good. But this one is just amazing. It just glides onto the skin so beautifully and so pigmented. I'm obsessed. So if you were eyeing a good cream blush or you wanted a good cream blush, I would highly recommend the Makeup by Mario ones. I think that these are phenomenal. And then I also really, really love the LYS cream blush. So this is the LYS Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush. I used this, I think, twice in the month of August. I got this towards the end of August, but after the first time I used this, I really, really enjoyed it. It's, again, a very creamy, easy, pigmented blush to use, and it's very similar to the Makeup by Mario shade, and it's a little bit less expensive. I believe the LYS blush is like $17 or $18. The LYS brand is very reasonably priced, but it's very pigmented and it almost has the same effect as the Makeup by Mario. The Makeup by Mario just looks so beautiful and so pigmented on the cheeks. This one is probably a little bit softer, but it's very pigmented and it goes on beautifully over powder. They just glide onto the skin and they really are beautiful. And then the last like cream blush before we get into powder blushes, there's just 3 I want to mention. This is a liquid blush though, and this is probably my favorite liquid blush I've ever tried. This is the Urban Decay Hydromaniac Blush Glow Hydrator. I've been able to go into this a couple more times since I've tried it the first time, and this is such a beautiful blush. This is the shade Wrecked. So this is just such a pretty liquid blush, and it just blends into the skin so nicely. It's so hydrating. Like, I was afraid that I really wasn't going to like this as much as the Tinted Hydrator, because you guys know how much I really love the Tinted Hydrator from Urban Decay. And initially, I wasn't sure if I was even going to pick this up, because I feel like with Urban Decay, they're just so behind the trends now. I don't know what happened to the brand at this point, but they used to be like such an edgy, fun brand, and now it's like snooze fest. But it's like Pat McGrath. Urban Decay is kind of similar to like Pat McGrath for me, and I know there are 2 different price brackets, but I feel like with Urban Decay and Pat McGrath, once they come out with a new product that they've never come out with before, I'm always intrigued to try it. Like, when Urban Decay finally came out with liquid blushes, I'm like, oh, finally, like 2 years later, when like the liquid blush trend is, it is picking up again. Like Kelly Ray released a new liquid blush. The Say blushes are supposed to be really good. But this is really nice, very pigmented, very easily blendable, and it just adds this beautiful, like, hydrated luminosity to your cheeks. It's so pretty. So I really, really like this. It's a really beautiful summer liquid blush as well. So I really, really like it. It's like the same thing with Pat McGrath when she released the cream blush stick. I really wanted to try that, but like with Urban Decay's eyeshadow palettes, and the same thing with Pat McGrath's eyeshadow palettes, they're just snooze fest to me. So, and then we have a couple of powder blushes. So the first one is the Dior Rosy Glow Color Reviving Power Effect Powder Blush Natural Healthy Glow Effect. That is a very long name, but y'all know that Dior did revamp their backstage line of blushes, and they came out with some newer shades, and I absolutely love this formula. It's such a beautiful, silky, smooth, blendable formula. I would say that this one and the Blend Bunny are very similar. Like, if you were kind of balling on a budget, I would suggest picking up the Blend Bunny palette, because I feel like you would almost have the same effect as these. But this is just so pretty on the skin. It's also a very buildable pigmented blush. Like, it's not like instant pigment when you put it on, but when you can dab it like a couple of times and then it builds up to be like such a beautiful pigmented blush on your cheeks. So this is beautiful. I really like it. These are definitely worth the hype. I think that this formula is way better than the older formula, because the older one I wasn't really that thrilled with when I had it. Or, I mean, I still have it. I have the coral shade, but I think that this formula is even better. I was so tempted to pick up another shade, but I'm like, no, Caitlin, like, you only need one. Like, again, you picked up so many blushes this month. And then speaking of blush formulas that I absolutely love, I had to pick up this color from Haus Labs. So this is the Haus Labs Color Fuse blush in the shade Lavender Blonde. I just thought that this was such a unique shade of blush, and I've used this a couple of times since I've gotten it in like the end of July. I think I've used this 3 times now. It's such a beautiful blush. It's like an orchid shade on your cheeks, and the Haus Labs blush formula is one of my all-time favorites. It's so velvety smooth. It's a bit more pigmented than the Dior one, but I'd probably say that these are very similar in quality, but the Haus Labs is even softer to the touch, and it's just a velvety smooth blush, because it is called like a velvet kind of formula. The same thing with the bronzer from House Labs, which is also one of my favorite bronzers. And then the last blush I had to talk about is the Say Cream Blush. I forgot that this was a cream, but it's fine. I only had actually 2 powder blushes to talk about. So this is the Say Glow Sculpt Blush in the shade Peach Glow. I had a lot of blushes in this favorites video because I finally was able to try them out through the month of August quite a few times, and I really like this one as well. This is a really nice blush. It's a little bit more of a drier formula than the LYS and the Makeup by Mario. It's kind of very similar to the Makeup by Mario formula, but I just find it's right there. I just find that the Makeup by Mario one is a bit more pigmented, and again, the Makeup by Mario one just glides onto the skin in like one swipe. It's so beautiful. This one is a very buildable formula, but it builds up really, really nicely. It looks very natural on the skin, but it's a really nice everyday formula. So I just wanted to mention that as well. I also like the highlighter, but I like the blush more. So I don't really have any highlighters to talk about this month because besides the LYS one that I tried last month, I don't have any new highlighters to talk about because I didn't try any. So, I did try 2, but I ended up returning them like immediately because they did nothing for my skin. So, okay, now let's move on to lip products. So we have a couple of lip oils to talk about because I've been so into lip oils this past month, and also like a lot of brands have been coming out with lip oils lately that I've just been wanting to try a few of them. I still love the Ami Collet one. I use this one every day now to prep my lips before I go in with another lip oil. Let me just see how long this video is so far. So we got to wrap this up because it's a little bit long, but I also did have a lot of products to talk about this month. I was like, I don't have that many, and it's like, oh, I really do. So let's talk about the lip oils first. I am wearing one I really love today, but I just got this one a couple of days ago, so I didn't technically try it in August. I tried it in September. So these are the 3 lip oils I wanted to talk about. The first one is the NYX Fat Lip Oil in the shade Follow Back. I got this from Ulta a couple of weeks ago, and I've used this a couple of times. And this one is a very nourishing, easy, beautiful, glittery lip oil on your lips. And I really, really like it for like really light makeup days, for like beach days. It's just a really, really nice drugstore option if you didn't want to spend too much money. This is a really good product. And then the next one, if you wanted to spend a little bit more, I love this. I've used this a few times already, and I loved it so much after the first time I tried it. I really wanted to pick up another shade, but I'm like, no, Caitlin, you only need one. So this is the Milk Makeup Odyssey Lip Oil Gloss, and this is the shade Explore. So this is, of course, is like the peachy color. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit tired, so we need to wrap this up. It's just so good on the lips. It's probably the most unique lip product that I've ever tried because it has that lip oil gloss feeling to it. What I'm wearing today is like a glossy bounce lip oil, and this one feels more so nourishing as a lip oil and not as much as a gloss. This one has this amazing hybrid effect on your lips that it feels like as nourishing as a lip oil, but it also has that slight kind of stickiness of a gloss, but also makes your lips so glossy, but also looks like an oil at the same time. I don't know how they did it, but they smashed it with this, and it's such a beautiful lip product. So I really, really love it. So, and then the last like tinted lip oil that I have to talk about, lip balm, whatever, is everybody has been absolutely raving about these Summer Friday lip balms. So I finally decided to try one of them. So this is the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm, and I believe that this is the lightest shade. Again, I don't know why it doesn't have the shade name on here. I'm sorry, but it's just the lightest shade. This is so nice on the lips. It's kind of very similar to what I'm wearing on my lips today. But it's just a really, really nice, nourishing, like, tinted glossy lip balm. And now I kind of understand the hype because it is a really, really nice lip product. I really, really like it. So if you were eyeing this, I would say go for it because I think it's really, really nice. Okay, so that is it when it comes to the lip oils, lip balms, all of that. I mean, when it gets August and September here, it's still really hot. So sometimes I just don't want to wear a lipstick. I just want to wear like a tinted lip product. And then, of course, the two lipsticks that I have to mention. I think I talked about these last month, but I have to mention them again. And those are the Lawless, what are they called? I think these are the plumping lipsticks, or like, what the heck are they called? I don't even know. But these are just so beautiful on the lips. I love the way that these lay on the lips. They're just so lightweight, but they also make your lips look so beautiful. They're pigmented, but not like insanely matte. But they just look so amazing on the lips. I don't know what it is, but they are just so nourishing and comfortable and beautiful. I absolutely love these. When I don't wear these, I just cannot wait to wear them again. They've just been my absolute go-to lipsticks. They are so amazing. So this one is Tropic. And then the other one is called Fawn. And Fawn is more of like a nude shade. And this is also a stunning lip product as well. I mean, hello, they're both the same formula, but it's a stunning nude shade, and I've just been absolutely obsessed with both of these. I also really love the magnetic packaging. So they just look so beautiful on the lips. Like, I love my ColourPop lipsticks. I love my MAC lipsticks. But I don't think there's been a formula that I've quite have fallen in love as hard as these in a long time. They're just so beautiful on the lips, and these are all I want to wear all the time. Like, they're just so good. And then the last regular lipstick, which this is the other formula that I've fallen hard for, and I wish that Say would come out with like a nude shade in this because I would 100,000% pick it up. But these are so freaking good, and since I was so impressed with the Say blush and highlighter, and also the Say, what else do I have from them? I think those are the only two. Oh, and the Super Gel Primer. I kind of wanted to try a couple more products from Say. I'm also wearing the Say lip oil today, the Glossy Bounce one, but I've only used that in September, so I can't talk about it yet, but I love it. But this is the Say lip blur in the shade Modern. This is so insanely comfortable on the lips, but it's so beautifully pigmented, but it feels like absolutely nothing on the lips, and it just looks so beautiful. It's literally a lip blur. It reminds me so much of the Velvet lip blurs from ColourPop, or like the Luxe Velvet lipsticks, but this one is just so good. It's amazing. I really wish they would come out with a nude shade because I would probably wear it like every day along with the Lawless lipsticks. But this formula is amazing. I love that lipstick. It's so good. And then the two liquid lipsticks that I wanted to mention, I like the Valentino one, but I think I like these two even more. This is so beautiful on the lips. I definitely prefer this over the Makeup by Mario lip suedes. So this is the Patrick Ta Silky Lip Cream, I believe it's called, and this is the shade She's Secure. So I saw Morgan Turner do like a head-to-head with Makeup by Mario and Patrick Ta, and she said that she preferred the Makeup by Mario lip suedes, but I prefer these. But I was really intrigued to try one of these after I watched her video. I was like, why haven't I tried those? So I picked one of these up, and I love this product. It is such a beautiful, easy liquid lip cream to use, and it lasts really well on the lips. It pretty much lasts as long as like a regular liquid lipstick would, because like after I eat and I reapply this, I really don't have to put that much on. It's just so comfortable, and it makes my lips look so pretty. It doesn't have like that wrinkly effect. It just has a beautiful like like liquid lipstick finish to it, but it's not matte. It's just a silky lip cream. And that's literally what it looks like on your lips, and it's so beautiful. So I love that. And then the last lip product I wanted to talk about, and then we're finally done, is the About Face lipstick. This is the matte painted lip color in the shade Slumber. And these are so good, you guys. I actually wore this to the city like a week ago, and it's just such a nice liquid lipstick, and it's really comfortable. It feels really nice on the lips, and I really, really like it. And I think the About Face makeup line is just a really good line in general. And that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this favorites video. I am so beyond tired now. I'm not mentioning skincare, but I am mentioning this necklace that I just bought from Lucky Brand. I'm obsessed with it. It's like a little star necklace, and I think it's so cute. And I just got this shirt from there too, and it's a really cute like V-neck, and I really love it. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great night, great day, whatever it may be. And let me know if you guys have tried any of these products and any of these brands. I really would love to know your thoughts. And yeah, that's it. Bye!